send you a message from, let's say your bank is Zenith Bank, and Zenith Bank URL, as the domain name is zenithbank.com. Then N in Zenith Bank is one N. Imagine someone sends you a message, an email with Zenith Bank that has two N. That's ZENNITH.com as the domain name. And then designs that email with Zenith Bank logo, everything Zenith Bank. And then tells you that an unauthorized, an unfamiliar activity was noticed on your account. Someone tried to withdraw the sum of 150,000 naira from your account from an unfamiliar location. If this was you, ignore this. However, if you were not the one that performed this action, please follow the link below, or someone has, that means someone has access to your password.
Yeah.
Follow the link below to change your password. You see that this is coming from
Zenith Bank.
Zenith Bank.
Without checking properly.
You've not checked the domain name. That it's actually Zenith Bank with double N. You click on it. Sometimes we don't consider skills like communication skills. I mean, I have a student who is very successful today, and I can mention her name. Her name is Mfoniso Obonko. She is a final year student in University of Uyo, linguistics. If I tell you what that girl has done so far in cybersecurity, it's phenomenal. She has moved so far that she has even gotten a 1-year internship role in ethical hacking. So over the next 1 year, she will be trained, as in she will gain industry experience in ethical hacking and become a certified ethical hacker in the next 1 year. This lady is a student of linguistics. I mean, you'll agree with me that linguistics has nothing to do with cybersecurity.
There are two ends of the pole.
I'm telling you. But this is the same lady that is doing phenomenally well. If you just look her up on LinkedIn, you will see what she's doing. She's talking about cybersecurity almost like a professional. So the way the curriculum is designed is that it can take you from zero experience, zero knowledge of tech to becoming a hero in cybersecurity.
So anybody can learn cybersecurity.
So anybody can learn cybersecurity. The thing is about commitment. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You need to be committed. You need to put in the time. The time in the essence that sometimes, if I tell some of my students, you need to put in 5 to 7 hours every single day if you want to be successful in cybersecurity. I mean, to some people, it's very scary, especially now the attention span is very, very low. Good. So, but if you can put in this time, if you can put in that effort, I can tell you that you can become one of the most celebrated cybersecurity professionals in just no time. So the thing is about the commitment, your doggedness, because you need to, I mean, some of the concepts, because you don't have a tech background. Remember, cybersecurity is actually computer security. So if you can put in the time, put in the effort and the commitment, you will be able to learn the basics of computer and then understand how to secure computers, networks, devices, data from malicious actors and unauthorized, access.
All right. Now, before we talk about the various security measures somebody can actually apply to be safe online, let's look at vulnerability.
Okay.
How do you place the vulnerability of Nigerians, of those online especially?
Okay. So, vulnerability is something that is a concern of every security professional. And the reason is very simple. There are 3 ways that malicious actors can gain access to a system. There are 3 major ways. Let me use that word. Major ways. 1, social engineering.
Okay.
That's a human vulnerability. 2, brute force attack. That's password vulnerability. 3, system vulnerability. So in all, you can say it wraps around what? Vulnerability. When we talk about social engineering, the definition of social engineering says it all. It is a manipulation technique.
It's more psychological.
Yes, it's a social engineering is a manipulation technique wherein malicious actors use this to gain unauthorized access to information. For example, I send you a message from, let's say your bank is Zenith Bank, and Zenith Bank URL as the domain name is zenithbank.com. Then N in Zenith Bank is one N. Imagine someone sends you a message, an email with Zenith Bank that has two N. That's ZENNITH.com as a domain name. And then designs that email with Zenith Bank logo, everything Zenith Bank. And then tells you that an unauthorized, an unfamiliar activity was noticed on your account. Someone tried to withdraw the sum of 150,000 naira from your account from an unfamiliar location. If this was you, ignore this. However, if you were not the one that performed this action, please follow the link below, or someone has, that means someone has access to your password.
Yeah.
Follow the link below to change your password.
Okay.
You see that this is coming from
Zenith Bank.
Zenith Bank.
Without checking properly.
You've not checked the domain name. That it's actually Zenith Bank with double N. You click on it. The chances of you clicking through is very high because, like even the Bible says, where a man's treasure is, that's where his what? His heart is. So, because this is where your money is, you are most likely going to take an action. You click through the email, through the link in the email, and it takes you to a malicious website that has been created by the malicious actor himself. There, you are asked, log in to continue. Log in to continue. You're shown a username, you put it in, your authentic username. You're shown a password, you're shown where to put in a password, you put it in. Then you click on login. Once you click on login, they, on the other side, as you're putting your username, they extract it, put it in Zenith Bank's main website. You put in password on their clone website, they extract it and put it on the main website of Zenith Bank. Then as you click on login, they will click on login. If you had activated a one-time password or a multi-factor authentication on the account, an OTP will be sent to you because they have clicked to login. Zenith Bank will send an OTP to you. And the way they will configure their own website will be such that once you click on login, the next page that will be displayed will be a place for you to enter OTP. As you enter your OTP on the fake website, they just extract it and put it on Zenith Bank's main website. And because that OTP came from Zenith Bank directly, it will be a genuine one. Guess who now has access to the account?
The malicious actors.
The malicious actors. What have they done? They have manipulated you into providing your login credentials. That's a human vulnerability. There are several other forms of social engineering we have. We have phishing. I mean, maybe we'll have time to talk about all of those ones. But I just wanted to show you a typical example of how vulnerability can actually expose you to a cyber attack. Once those guys have access to your account, they can literally drain whatever is in there. So vulnerability is something that security professionals spend day and night trying to tackle. That is why you have what we call updates. When I tell people, my students, and I tell people in general, anytime you see an update released to either the operating system you're using or the applications you're running on your device, try as much as possible to install those updates. The reason is that most of these updates are actually security patches. whenever there is a vulnerability, these app developers will create a patch that will be released in the next update. When you install that update, it actually patches that vulnerability. But what you should also know is that as they are announcing the update, they are telling people the vulnerability. I mean, you are used to the fact that when you see an update, they will tell you what's new or what's this update for. Yeah. They will announce the vulnerability that this update is supposed to compensate for. Remember, that has been announced. So the security community, including the malicious actors, now know that such a vulnerability exists on that system. So if you don't make updates to compensate for that vulnerability, then you are going to expose yourself. Let me give you a very clear example. In 2017, in May of 2017, there is this ransomware attack that we call WannaCry ransomware. It happened in May. And it actually took advantage or exploited a vulnerabilities in Windows operating system called Ethana Blue. Now, when this incident happened, unfortunately, a lot of devices around the world were actually encrypted. The data on these devices were actually encrypted. And, I mean, the threat actors, the malicious actors, asked for ransom. Microsoft, makers of Windows, immediately noticed this particular vulnerability and released an update in the same month, the same May, to compensate for that vulnerability. Some people downloaded that and installed the patch, and so we're free from that vulnerability. Some other people did not do that. In the next month, which was June of 2017, there was another ransomware attack that we call Petia. Petia leveraged or exploited the same vulnerability that WannaCry exploited. So that means anybody that did not install that Windows update would be vulnerable to the Petia ransomware attack. Okay. So that tells you why vulnerability is very critical and how we are supposed to see vulnerability. And by the way, this is not just for security professionals. It's for everybody. As far as you're using a digital device, you are vulnerable. And therefore, you have to be very careful about updates. Don't ignore updates. Don't say, I don't have data. Because the reality is that the cost of remediating a ransomware attack is always way higher than the cost of data to update your systems.
All right. Now, the core of the cybersecurity awareness is to propagate actions that can keep people safe online. Now, the theme has always been a safer world. Now, even in Europe, they had such celebration. I think this particular period, and their theme is think before you click.
Yes.
Now, as a cybersecurity professional, what are those actions you think you can share with us that will keep us safe online?
Let me start from think before you click. The reality is that cybersecurity is now such a big thing because malicious actors are on the rampage. Within the past 1 month, we've had MoneyGram has suffered a data breach. Casio, I mean, if you know Casio, the manufacturer, the makers of the calculator, the popular calculator. Now, this is one of the largest Japanese electronics manufacturer that suffered a ransomware attack. We've had several attacks, data breaches that have happened recently. Malicious actors are not slowing down at all. So there is no reason why we should slow down. As we mark the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, I want everybody to consider themselves by default vulnerable. You know how they say in law, I mean, you are innocent until proven guilty. In this case, you are vulnerable. You are vulnerable until proven otherwise. You have to take steps When you see any email drop into your account, that is a potential malware attack, phishing attack. That's why they say, think before you click. An email comes in asking you to download something, an attachment. You have to consider that by default as a potential phishing attack. So what that means is that you have to look at the URL, the domain name of the sender. You have to look at it very well. That's number one. Number two, before you click, if it's a link, hover over that link and look at the domain name that is always on the bottom of the screen. What is the domain name? If it looks, if it has a funny structure, do not click on it. Be very sure of the person that is sending you, and in fact, before you click any link, be sure of who is sending that across to you. If it is possible, let them send you as a text, an email text. It is only when it has to come in a PDF format or a different file format that you can actually entertain an attachment. Whether it's coming from your boss. Oh, your boss told you, I'm going to send you an email. No. Be very careful about the email you are getting from your boss, because it might not be coming from your boss. So that actually allows you to do what? To look before. That's why they say think before you click. That's number one. Number two, you have to be sure that you do not visit websites that don't have a secured socket layer, an SSL. SSL, when a website has an SSL, we call in cybersecurity is SSL TLS, secure socket layer, transport layer security. Now you will see an S, then you see a padlock. Okay. If a website does not have that padlock,
an S
don't,
with a padlock.
An S with a padlock, don't.
At the extreme?
No, just before the URL. Okay. Be very wary of that website. In fact, don't visit. Okay. Because what happens is that they could use a tool called Wireshark and then see all the transaction, all the communication, the data packets that are moving from your browser to the server. They can monitor it. And they can literally do what we call man-in-the-middle attack in cybersecurity. They can actually literally get all your financial information, your private records, and all of that. They can do that. So ensure that you visit only websites that are risk management. You could become a GRC expert, governance, risk management, and compliance. So there are different aspects across all the 8 domains of the CISSP. Well, when I say CISSP, I mean Certified Information System Security Professional. Okay. Yes. So now, those domains, you can decide to pick any of them and specialize. And you make the best in security.
Based on your own experience, yes. What are the most in demand of all those 8 domains? Which of them are the most in demand, especially in Nigeria? And which of them is the most lucrative also?
Okay, so I have seen a lot of demand coming in, especially for pen testers.
In Nigeria?
And ethical hackers. I mean, if you look at what has been happening lately, malicious actors have been taking advantage of system vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access to systems within especially in our financial institutions. So, obviously, there will be demand for penetration testers, because what a penetration tester does is to evaluate, to do some kind of a simulated attack to see where the loopholes are, where the vulnerabilities are. So they analyze and discover vulnerabilities, which they can now tell the organization, oh, these are the vulnerabilities in your system, and the organization can then take appropriate measures to actually close or compensate for those vulnerabilities. So pen testing is there, ethical hacking is there. Then another area I'm also seeing a lot of demand is network security engineers, network security professionals. The demand is huge because, I mean, everybody uses, all companies, or most companies in Nigeria use wireless communication. They use network infrastructure in one form or the other. So they need, once you're using network, then your system is vulnerable to network attacks. So they need network security professionals to help them to keep themselves from suffering from this or being victims of this attack. Then apart from that, we also have, software development security professionals. These guys are involved in ensuring a lot of startups. We've seen a lot of startups in Nigeria that are building software. I mean, most organizations now move to a cloud service model we call software as a service, meaning you provide your service as in a form of software. Take an example of Zoom. Zoom, you don't need to get the infrastructure, the video conferencing infrastructure, but you can just subscribe to the service. So that's a model called software as a service. Okay. Most organizations in Nigeria, especially tech companies in Nigeria, adopt this model. And for you to be successful in this model, you have to hire the service or the services of software development security professionals, as well as cloud security professionals. Because again, you are hosting your infrastructure in the cloud and then you are building a software. So you need software development security professionals to help you in building the software to ensure that there are no bugs. Bugs are actually errors in code. There are also no backdoors that malicious actors could use to gain access to your systems. So you need those guys when you are building the software. We have, in the software development lifecycle, we have the design, we have the implementation, and then the launch, which you need pen testers to. So in all of the software development lifecycle, you need software development security professionals. Then the other people that you need for a software as a service model would be the cloud security professionals. Because again, you are going to host your instance in the cloud. If there are any errors in configuration, if there are any errors in any part of the process of putting your infrastructure in the cloud, that could be a loophole through which malicious actors could gain access to your systems. So you need these professionals, and then we can see an uptick in the demand for these professionals. I've mentioned cloud security professionals, talked about software development security professionals, I've talked about network security professionals, and I've also talked about pen testers and ethical hackers.
Now, do you need any background knowledge before you come into cybersecurity? Because I've had a couple of conversation with persons that are into data analytics, data analysis, and they'll tell you that, you must have at least a little knowledge of mathematics, a little knowledge of statistics. Do you really need background knowledge before you come into cybersecurity? Can anybody study cybersecurity?
Okay, let me say this very quickly. You can actually study cybersecurity with zero tech background, tech experience. Yes, because the way the curriculum is being designed is such that you can start from zero. You can literally start from zero. The curriculum is designed to introduce you.
Now, let's discuss step by step the actionable step people can take to be secured online. Step by step.
Okay, the first thing you must do is to ensure that all your devices are up to date.
Okay,
that's a no-brainer.
Updating one.
Updating. Mm-hmm. Number two, you ensure that you visit only websites that are HTTPS, that are secured. There is a secure connection between your browser and the web server that you're visiting, that you are making requests to. That will ensure that nobody can stand in the middle. We call that man in the middle attack, by the way, to extract or to steal your information. Nobody can look into what the conversation you're having. Then you must ensure that you have a very strong password.
Now let's define what a strong password is.
A strong password is minimum of 8 characters.
Okay.
Of these 8 characters, there must be, you have uppercase letters, let me use in plain language, capital letters, small letters, numbers, special characters.
Okay.
You must have a blend of all of this.
In one password.
Minimum
of 8 characters.
Minimum of 8 characters.
Okay.
Then, beyond the password, you cannot afford to use a password more than once. Meaning that if you use a password on one particular account, let's say your Facebook account, you can't use the same password on your Instagram account. Let me tell you why. Because sometimes people think that we as security professionals are trying to make these things to be cumbersome for people. But let me tell you what malicious actors do, so that by the time you are trying to use the same password, you understand the risk you are taking. Whenever there is a data breach, by that I mean whenever malicious actors gain access to a certain a confidential information, maybe like your login credentials on a platform. Let's just say hypothetically, let's say Facebook suffers a data breach, and then your password, your username, your password, your phone number is breached, that is leaked. Malicious actors will pick this. And by the way, just so you know, passwords are not saved in plain text. They are saved in a hash value. It's the hash value that gets saved. Now, so what malicious actors will do when they steal this information, they will store it in what we call a rainbow table. A rainbow table contains the hash values of popular passwords or breached passwords.
Okay.
So if I come and I see, it's like a dictionary, kind of. So I come and I see your name is Providence ACN. Let's say your username is Providence ACN. Then you have a password. Then I go to the rainbow table and I see the password that you have in a hash value as well as the plain text. Because once it has been breached, you can see everything. Then when I go to Instagram, I will use your username
to try.
And then the plain text that matches your hashed password. And because you have not changed it since the breach, I will have access because it's still correct. But watch this. If after the breach you had changed your password, I will still see it. I will still see the old password on the rainbow table. So, but when I try to use it to log in, it will tell me incorrect password. That's why we tell people, always update your password at least once in 6 months.
Oh, you change your password once in 6 months?
Yeah, when I say update, I mean change. Always change your password at least once in 6 months or whenever there is a data breach, whichever comes first.
Okay.
So even if you just changed your password last month, but your credentials were involved in a data breach this month, I mean, you still have 5 months to go. You have to change it. And how do you know whether your password has been involved in the data breach? Consistently, there is a website called haveibeenpwned.com. HAVEIBEENPWNED.com.
Okay.
Once you type out that, we'll revisit that website, just put your email address. If that email address has been involved in a data breach, you will see the details. You scroll down, you will see the details of all the data breaches that email has been involved in.
Now, what of that particular website you're talking about? How assured are we that a malicious actor can actually break into that?
No. At least for now, that website, you have to be very sure. That's why I had to spell it. Have I been pwned? I had to spell it clearly. So it will be HTTPS.
Okay, HTTP. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Then before you now have the website I just mentioned, haveibeenpwned.com. So once you visit that website, it's an open source tool. You don't have to pay money, literally. So you put in your email address, and then everywhere that particular credential email has been involved in a data breach, you will see it. So if you realize that there was a data breach like 1 month ago or 2 months ago, and you realize that the last time you updated your password was about 5-6 months ago, then you know that you have to do what? Update. You have to change your password.
Now, what of multi-factor
authentication? Good. So multi-factor authentication is almost like the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm going to explain why. When you create accounts, You have the username and the password. These are things that you know. When we talk about multi-factor authentication, we mean a system that tests you on what you know, what you have, and who you are. It has to prove, you have to prove all these factors before you can be granted access and authorization.
Okay, what you know,
what you have, and who you are. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to unbundle them. What you know is your username, your password, your PIN. What you have is like your device. And that's why an OTP is always sent to your device. What you have. And who you are is like your fingerprint.
Or your facial.
Your facials. Or your retina, your iris scan.
Okay.
Good. Now, let me use a very common example. When you go to the bank, an ATM, to withdraw money, they actually test you on two things. What you have and what you know. That's why you put in your password, your card, your ATM card, and then you put in your PIN. So that's what you have and what you know. Good. There are some ATMs that are cardless ATMs. But what they test you on is who you are and what you know. So you put, when you go there, you put in your fingerprint. You do a fingerprint. Put in your fingerprint. There's a fingerprint sensor there. You put in, you place your finger and it takes your fingerprint. And then you put in your password. Oh, sorry, in this case, your PIN. That puts an additional level of authentication beyond your password, beyond your username, to ensure that you are who you say you are. Now, it comes in very, very, very handy when you're talking about brute force attacks. When someone wants to conduct a brute force attack, remember, it's a matter of brute force attack is actually the process of testing different passwords to see which one is correct. So, when you have a brute force attack, if you have a multi-factor authentication, someone would have to always enter an OTP every single time they are trying out a particular password. So imagine if you have to try a password 720 times for you to be able to gain access. You have to log in, you have to use the multi-factor authentication, in this case an OTP, 720 times. A bot cannot do that. Now, for people that are security professionals, we always also advise for you to use what we call CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA is what we call completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. Now, I mean, how many times do you go to sign up or log in and then you see a box? You click, and when you click, it shows some pictures and asks you to, gives you a challenge, asks you to pick some few things, some things that match. Good. That is what we call a CAPTCHA. It actually is a system that tells the difference between computers and bots. I'm sorry, computers and humans, bots and humans. If for every time you try a brute force attack, remember, you have to fill in the challenge. You have to take the challenge, the CAPTCHA challenge. And that makes it almost impossible for a bot to do. Because a bot cannot solve these challenges. Hence, it is stuck. So you as a professional, also as an individual, you have to be very wary. You want to feel very more comfortable when you are logging into a website that has a CAPTCHA. The next is, don't log into or hook up to a Wi-Fi that is not secured. I can't say that enough. When you hook up to an insecure Wi-Fi, I mean, you are excited, free data. I want to download, I want to browse.
Instantly you connect.
You connect immediately. What you're doing is, as you're connecting, a malicious actor can also do what? Connect. And could, by that connection, gain unauthorized access to your device, to your data, to your confidential information. The next is for you to ensure that you don't share your passwords with other people. It's different from, we talked about strong password, but sharing your password with people. If I ask people, how many times have you given people your ATM PIN? And that one is now, everybody does it, literally. Don't give someone your password. Let me give you a reason. If you give someone your password, you think that you are trying to make life more convenient for you. But what you're doing is that you are giving someone a password and the person can be careless about it. So that password can get into the wrong hands, which the hands of someone that could use it to exploit you. So don't share your password for any reason.
Okay.
Then the last one I would talk about for now would be that you should be very wary of unsolicited calls and text messages. We call it smishing and vishing.
Okay.
They are both of them are the two types of phishing attacks.
Okay.
Someone calls you from your bank and says your BVN is about to expire. Someone sends you a text message. Someone sends you an email. If it is an unsolicited text message, an unsolicited call, tell the person, if he says it's from your bank, tell the person, don't worry, I will go to my bank premises or the bank hall and handle whatever challenge I have. Nobody can cry more than the bereaved. Someone is trying to assist you, unsolicited assistance, and you feel comfortable. No. Like they say, if you're not paying for it, then you are the product. Yes, if you are not paying for it, then you are the product. You have to be wary of unsolicited calls and text messages. Most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, it is most likely going to be a phishing attack, a smishing attack, or a vishing attack.
Now, you talked about 4 steps to actually protect yourself online. You've talked about updating, regular updates of your
password.
Okay. You talk about
use of multi-factor authentication.
Okay. Then password. Now, let me tell you something. One of the reasons why people have one password for different things because they have different form of interaction with the digital space on a daily basis. So how does somebody measure, how do you manage having different password for different platforms you're actually interacting with?
Okay, good. So that is why we have what we call a password manager.
Okay.
A password manager allows you to have all your passwords
in one particular app.
An app manages your password. Then you have what we call a master password. So the only password you need to memorize is your master password. You have to, and you have to also keep it very secure. That is to ensure that you don't suffer what we call password fatigue. You have to keep just one password has to be strictly for one system. So that if there's a breach, like I said earlier, if there's a breach on one of the accounts, then you will be sure that a malicious actor will not use those credentials to access all other accounts. If you have one password across different accounts, that means all a malicious actor needs to do is to just get access to that one password, and then the damage happens. Then there's another thing that we have done as security professionals that we have brought in, which you call single sign-on. When when you try to open an account with a platform, you would see there continue with Google. When you sign up using Google, that's what we call a single sign-on. Meaning that Google will be like the guarantor. Let me use in very plain language so people will understand. Google is now the guarantor to tell the service provider, let's say you want to open an account with, let's say, Netflix, and then the option comes in, continue with Google. Now, once you set up that account, we're using Google. Anytime you want to log in, you will see continue with Google. So you will click on Google. As far as you're logged into your Google account on that device, Google would guarantee that you are the one that is trying to access your Netflix account.
Okay.
Now, but of course, by that you can see that there's a vulnerability.
Serious vulnerability.
Yes, because if someone that is logged into your account can literally access your Netflix account.
Yes.
That is why we have single sign-on plus multi-factor authentication. That's the sweet spot. Single sign-on, multi-factor authentication. How simple do you think it would be if you just need to continue with Google and then you are asked to just enter an OTP? Isn't that very convenient? It's convenient, but at the same time, it is secure. A single sign-on alone is not secure because it means that if someone has access to your Gmail account, they can actually literally log into your account.
Yeah.
So what we do is we use single sign-on plus multi-factor authentication. Google does not send your password to the service provider. Rather, they send what we call a token to the service provider to know that to tell them that, listen, this guy is authorized to do what? To gain access to your systems. So that is exactly what you have to do. You cannot afford to use one password, no matter what happened, across different accounts. Use Password Manager. We have Google Password Manager. We have LastPass. I'm not trying to market anybody here.
You're marketing already.
These are
so I'll get the pay for you.
But these are the password managers that we have. So use a password manager when next you think about
what is the level
passwords.
of awareness? The level of how are you able to propagate this gospel or this message of staying safe online to the larger population?
So
the level of awareness.
Good. So the reality is this. What I'm doing here is part of it.
Okay.
Trying to get that message across. Because of the advent of AI, we've seen an influx of people that were hitherto not connected to the internet are now getting to the internet because it means things are becoming ridiculously simple. But these people coming in, that's a larger market for malicious actors. Meaning that it is important for us to prioritize cybersecurity education. I want to tell you that over the past 6 months or thereabout, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on almost all including WhatsApp, I have been talking about cybersecurity awareness. For me, October being the cybersecurity awareness month is just a reminder. But if it has to do with that propagating the message, I do it. But it's a call on other people. Don't think I am not a security professional, therefore it doesn't concern me. It concerns you as far as you're using a digital device. Recently, even in this state, we've seen some very highly placed business leaders and political office holders that have suffered. Either their WhatsApp account is hacked or their Facebook account is hacked. And in some cases, people have lost insane amount of money. Imagine a top government functionary sends you a message on WhatsApp telling you that he's stranded, he needs about 200,000. You will feel very privileged
to help him.
Wow. For this man to ask me for this favor. In fact, there was a case wherein the malicious actor told the person, impersonating the political office holders, told the victim that I'm stranded, I need 200,000. The guy said 300. Just to tell him that I can do more. For you, I can do more. So you can see the level. Even people that are so highly placed are not left out. But there's a reason. There is a reason why malicious actors specifically target those high-end people or people that are highly placed. Because number one, these people, to be very honest, they scarcely really pay attention to cybersecurity.
Yes.
I've had an opportunity to talk to a top government functionary around cybersecurity. I told him, he said, my PA would, talk to my PA.
Yeah.
Train my PA, he will tell me. And of course, you can be sure that the PA will never tell him. But this guy is using his device. It's not his PA that is using it. He's using his device to interact with the internet. So, as a matter of fact, we have a name for that kind of attack. We call it whaling, where you attack top shots. So you realize that they are much more vulnerable to cyber attacks because they have not learned. If you have not learned, like they say, knowledge is power. If you have not learned how to protect yourself against cyber attacks, there is nothing you can do. You are vulnerable. So that's why you've been having consistently, I'm not going to mention names, but you've known of very highly placed people in this state whose WhatsApp accounts, Facebook accounts have been attacked. So that means everybody needs to understand. That message needs to get out.
Like basic knowledge.
You tell the next person, I have listed some of the things you need to do to protect yourself from being vulnerable to cyber attacks. Tell the next person, if you are secure and the next person, your associate, your friend, your family member doesn't know about cybersecurity, you are not secure. Before I end this particular point, let me tell you a story. I actually literally said this on my LinkedIn post. There was a guy, a security professional, by the way. The guy, of course, as a security professional, it's very difficult to target them because they know of these things. They know as much as, even more than what the malicious actors know. So, but he did not consider it imperative to train his family members. So it happened that, his son went to school and performed well. So he was given an award. Someone gave him an award and said, okay, this is an award for you. It contains ebooks. Ebooks that you're going to use over the next several years from different disciplines. This is your award. And what that ebook was contained in a flash drive. So the boy went back home so excited and told the mother, Mommy, I won a prize today. A collection of ebooks. The mother said, can I see? She said, this is the ebook is contained in this flash. The mother, very excitedly, took the flash from the boy, went to the father's workstation. By the way, the father just went into the kitchen to prepare to get something to snack on. The father was working from home, so just went to the kitchen to get something to snack on. And by the way, the father was already logged into his organization's system. And of course, the father being a security lead has some privileges. Yeah. So when the mother went into the father's workstation, that was that was not the only laptop in the house too, but that was the only laptop that she was sure was on at the time. So she went in, slotted the flash drive in there. And then immediately the system prompted him to do what? Prompted him, allow this application to make these changes on your computer. And the woman unwittingly clicked on yes. And then boom! It happened. The malicious software was successfully delivered. You can see that kind of social engineering. That is a way you can be targeted. But if that guy, the security professional, had trained the wife on social engineering tactics and techniques, the wife would have seen that flash drive as a potential attack vector, and would have she would have even gone to tell the husband, someone gave my son this, our son this. And the husband, being a security professional, would have accessed that flash drive in an isolated environment. Which means that if there was a malware in there, which turned out to be that there was a malware in there, it would have been exposed in a virtual environment, in an isolated environment, meaning it wouldn't have affected the underlying machine. Right. Okay. So that tells you why we need to train people around us
you have to pass
the message across. Because if you are not safe, if they are not safe, you are not safe. If they don't understand cybersecurity, you don't understand cybersecurity. Remember that these people have your details, your information. So If they are not able to manipulate me to release my sensitive information, my brother, my friend, my associate can be manipulated to release this information about me, and that means I am vulnerable to attack.
Okay.
So that's why it is important that we don't just educate ourselves on cybersecurity, but we educate people around us on cybersecurity. Together, we protect ourselves from malicious actors.
All right, now let's look at the relationship, or the disruption of AI in cybersecurity. What are those roles that AI has collected?
Let me not talk about the rules first, because when everybody talks about AI, they talk about in AI in cybersecurity. They talk about the scale is genuine. They talk about the fact that it has taken out some jobs. Good, but let me start by talking about the dangers or the challenges, the new challenges that AI has brought into cybersecurity. Do you realize that AI has simplified the task for malicious actors? Let me give you some context, some numbers to think about. How many people do we have in Nigeria? So 200 and something million.
Yes.
How many people do you think have GSM phone lines? How many GSM numbers do you think we have in Nigeria? About 140, 150 million. Do you know that an AI tool can literally run a brute force attack using all the numbers registered in Nigeria in 15 seconds? Think about that for a second.
In 15 seconds?
In 15 seconds, it can do that. So that means that the task of cyber attacks has become ridiculously simple. I think you must have heard about deepfakes.
Yeah.
Do you realize that I can literally get a video of you dancing on the roadside naked? I can get that video. Let me give you a live story that happened. So there was in a company, you had a manager, you had a an account guy. The manager told the account guy on a stand-up meeting, I'm going to send you something to work on. And then some moments later, it was a stand-up, so it was the offices are spacely located. So moments later, the account guy received an email purportedly coming from the manager that we are bidding for something. Please make payments of so and so. I think about $500,000 or thereabout. That's such an astounding figure. Make this payment so that we can secure our bid. Immediately after dropping that email, the same account guy received a voice call. With the picture, the video of the manager himself telling him, I just sent you an email. Please act fast, act as quickly as you can, so that we don't miss out on this opportunity. Is that not a matching order? A matching order. So the accountant immediately swung into action to make the payment. What was the saving grace? The saving grace was that the organization had kept what I call a ceiling of $100,000, meaning that any amount above $100,000 can only be withdrawn with a physical visit to the bank. So it was when he attempted that $500,000 transfer, and that visit must not be, the manager must actually be part of that visit, of the physical visit. Not less than 2 people must make that visit to the bank, and one of which must be the manager. So when the guy tried the payment and it bounced because of that clause, he had to call the manager to tell the manager that, oh, you have forgotten, but we need to actually go to the bank physically to authorize this payment. When he called the manager and told the manager, concerning the instruction you just gave to me to make payment to so and so account, we need to, by the time he wanted to say we need to, the manager said, wait. Which payments are we talking about here? He said, you actually authorized a 500,000 naira payment, $1,000 payment to a certain account. He said, I don't remember doing anything of such. That did not come from me. So those guys had successfully done what we call business email compromise. Compromise the account of the manager to be able to send that email across, and then exploited deepfake. A deepfake to be able to clone the voice and the video and the picture and do that, make that particular phone call. So you can see that has been enhanced by what? Maybe if they had only sent the email, the guy would have been a bit suspicious. But to accompany it with a video, not just voice, a video call made it more convincing. So AI has actually transformed the threat landscape completely, meaning that it is more tasking for a security professional to maintain cybersecurity in all contexts. That is what AI has done. I just wanted to start with the changes to the threat landscape courtesy of AI. Now let me talk about the jobs that you're talking about here. Yes, it is true. There are tools now that can actually do the job of a security analyst, for example. But one of those tools is called Microsoft Copilot for Security. I use it myself. But like they say, it's called Copilot. Do you know what a Copilot is? I mean, in a flight, you have...
There's a main pilot.
There's a main pilot. So I don't think it is actually like going to take up jobs. It is actually going to assist a security analyst to do his job. If you use a Copilot, let me tell you from a personal experience, if you use a Copilot, you can do some tasks that will normally take you like an entire day. You can do it in a few hours. Let me give you an example of what a security analyst faces a day. Do you realize that as a security analyst, you could see about over 3,000 alerts in a day? Sometimes you have a team of just 10 people. How can 10 people respond to 3,000 alerts? So what is an AI tool will help you to do is to look at these threats based on some of the things that you have set, some of the settings you have made, some of the configurations you have made, and then try to pick out which ones are most crucial to be dealt with. So you can reduce that 3,000 over 3,200 to something below, let's say around 500 or thereabout. That is more manageable by a team of 10 people. So you can see that it plays a role of being a co-pilot, not replacing. But I think for people that are scared, that especially security analysts or security professionals that are scared that AI will take their jobs, I think what they should be thinking about is to learn prompt engineering so that they can be skilled enough to prompt these AI tools to be able to do the jobs that they needed to do. No employer will pay you. They don't have any obligation to hire you. They are paying you because of the value that you deliver. If I have someone that is a security analyst, but also has an AI background, some understanding of AI, prompt engineering most especially, and can do a job faster and better, then I will hire that person more than a guy who just a security analyst. So I think the idea should be security analysts should think about how they can build their skills in prompt engineering so that they can use AI tools better and more productively in their job as security professionals.
Now, before we go, I'd like to ask one question. Somebody that wants to actually come into the career path of AI, of cybersecurity, what are the processes involved?
Okay.
What do you need to do?
So the first thing you need to do to become a security professional is that you need to take on an entry-level security program.
Okay.
There are a number of them, but I mean, some of them are very, very comprehensive. So you will have the three leading. You have the Google Cybersecurity Certification Program. You have ISC Squared. ISC Squared also has a program, an entry-level program. It's called Certified in Cybersecurity.
Okay.
Then you also have CompTIA. CompTIA being, it's like the CompTIA Security Plus. It's like the gold standard. So you would want to do the Google Cybersecurity Certificate. Or that's if you just want to do it on your own. You can do the Google Cybersecurity Certificate. You can do ISC Squared, or you can do CompTIA. Take these entry-level exams. I mean, you can also go to an institute like Netizens, as an example. You can go to an institution that teaches cybersecurity, especially using a comprehensive curriculum. For example, the program that we do here exposes you to all the 8 domains of the CISSP.
Okay.
Because as an entry-level security professional, it is expected that you should have a fair knowledge of all of these domains. Nobody says you should have an expert knowledge. That's why when people just start off by going to learn ethical hacking, I think they are uninformed. They are ill-informed. Ethical hacking is not an entry-level role. It's a specialization. When you start off with ethical hacking, you deprive yourself of the knowledge of the basic knowledge of all other domains in cybersecurity. And so it becomes very difficult for you to interact even in the community or be useful in an organization. So what you want to do is to start, even if you want to be an ethical hacker, you want to start having an entry-level certification. Then you can choose to specialize in something like ethical hacking, penetration testing. You can go to network security. You can go to, there are different roles that you can do. If you have a software engineering background, you can decide to go to software development security. So then you specialize. When you specialize, you can then work in different roles, in specific roles in cybersecurity. If I hire a network professional, of course, a network security professional will earn way better than someone who just has a general knowledge of everything. Right. Take an example, go to the hospital. You have a general practitioner who stays there almost every morning and night. You have a consultant that comes maybe spends 3 hours. But you will agree with me that a consultant will earn like multiples of what a general practitioner does because of specialization. So I always advise my students, once you're done with your entry-level program, start working on a specialization. There are a lot of labs available. There are open source labs, there are closed source, there are ones that are premium you have to pay for. But for me, I like to go for paid labs that I pay for because, it allows you to have access to cutting-edge tools that will prepare you for the job market. So the idea is for you to be able to get hands-on experience. Hands-on experience is very critical. There is so much you can do talking about cybersecurity. It boils down to what can you do. When someone is hiring you, it's not hiring you to come and talk to us. Yeah, of course, I know that security education is important. It's very critical. Organizations really need security education, people that can handle security education, because at the end of the day, even when an incident happens, there's something we call in the incident response life cycle. There's something we call post-incident activity. And one of the components of post-incident activity is lessons learned, wherein you tell them, maybe if it was a social engineering attack, you can now educate employees on the vulnerability that actually made them susceptible to that attack.
Okay.
So you need people that can educate, people that can teach. Again, but at the core of it, you need people that are able to respond to incidences. You need to understand how to use tools, cybersecurity tools, to be able to respond to incidences, to be able to patch vulnerabilities, identify and patch vulnerabilities, to be able to protect the system, the network that you're working with. So that's a good career path. That's a kind of something that a workable career path that will get you well seated in cybersecurity. Don't just rush and pick one specification. You are going to miss out on a lot of things, and that will not be good for you down the line as you try to progress in cybersecurity.
That's a very good one. Before we go, I'd like you to give us your final words.
My final words would be that as we celebrate the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, remember, you are responsible for your cybersecurity. You are responsible for your cyber hygiene, your cyber safety. You are responsible for it. So don't think that you are doing any other person a favor. No, you are not. Also, don't think that because you know cybersecurity, you are secure. No. You must teach people around you. Share the knowledge. Teach your family members. Teach your friends. Teach your associates about cybersecurity, about the things they need to do. You've learned a lot from this video, the things they need to do to protect themselves online. And by the time you teach your friends, that means every loophole to get through to you would have been sealed. If someone wants to attack you and knows that you understand cybersecurity, he will attack your friend who has access to your information, and by extension, they are literally attacking you. So by training or by educating your friend, educating your family members, you are actually protecting yourself from malicious actors. So take this as a message for this month, and let's continue to keep ourselves online so that we can enjoy the benefits of the internet without suffering unnecessary consequences. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, and I pray we'll meet again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, on that note, we'll come to the end of today's episode of Clockwise. And also, do not forget to like, subscribe, share, and put on the bell on this channel, because every week we bring amazing content. And also, do not forget that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who did not go to school or those who will not go to school, but are those who have refused to evolve as their environment is evolving. My name is Providence Essien. See you again.